participant. We'll wait for a few more to join in, and I think we'll begin in the next 5 minutes. This is your second learning session, and our speaker for the day is Ms. Kareshma Khanna. Thank you everyone for joining in. We'll be beginning in the next 3 minutes. For another 2-3 minutes to start with the entire presentation, our speaker, Ms. Kareshma Khanna, is here with us. If I could request her that we'll just wait for a little more attendance before we begin with the session. Welcome to your second learning session. I hope your first one gave you a good heads up on how to start your businesses and the business canvas that you need to actually model your entire business. Your second session, which is lined in sync with the first one, which is your go-to-market strategy. Now you have your product, आपके पास अपना product तैयार है, अपनी service तैयार है. How do you go ahead and put it into the market? I know what is my product, but how to go ahead and put it to another person to understand the entire thing. For the same reason, we have a very special speaker with us, Ms. Kareshma Khanna. She is a brand strategist and a chief brand officer obsessed with crafting purpose-driven brands that scale and stand out. With 10 plus years of experience, she helps MSMEs and startups align products, team, and marketing to drive growth. What she brings to your table: brand positioning and go-to-market strategies that work, consumer insights and rebranding for impact, and your proven results that is scaled revenue from 80 crores to 290 crores. And she's launched startups in the past as well. So welcome, Karishma. Thank you so much for joining us. Am I not audible to everyone? I believe there's a message in the chat box. Could you hear me, Karishma?
Yeah, I can.
You can, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Now audible. Okay, great. So that's Karishma for you all, Miss Karishma Khanna. Thank you so much for taking out the time for actually addressing this young group of people. We have a good number of participants as well. So thank you for joining in. Karishma, the stage is all yours. Please.
Thank you, Shreya. Shreya, in case there are any questions in the chat box, it will be difficult for me to navigate. You can let me know.
Sure. In case y'all have any questions through the presentation, y'all can please note it down. We'll take it towards the end of the entire session if that works for you.
Yeah. So, hello everyone. I am Karishma and I'm a brand strategist. And today I'm going to talk about something very critical in your startup journey, and that's go-to-market strategy. Now, I want to give there is a lot of emphasis on go-to-market strategy in the current time because they say now it is the make and break. If you enter the market with the right strategy, you're there. And if you don't, you're doomed. However, in the process, you will learn that go-to-market strategy is not something very definite, but something very iterative. And that's what, on that note, I want to begin this session. So I'll take you over very quickly on the theory part of it, which you guys already would know. So I'll just brush it up before we have a very interactive and Q&A session, which I think would be more helpful, where we can take like specific questions with respect to your business. And there's also a misconception that GTM generally works for D2C. But GTM, when we talk about go-to-market, it works for both B2C company, B2B company. In both scenarios, it works. So what we'll do is we'll quickly touch upon certain things like understanding what is go-to-market, how do we prepare for your GTM, how do we develop a GTM strategy, how do we execute it, and then how do we measure it. So go-to-market strategy very quickly is basically designing a strategy which identifies your target market. It includes your development of your unique selling proposition, your USP, your key message development, pricing and strategy and distribution channels. All this, that how am I going to enter the market, right? What will be my product market fit, all comes under your GTM. And why it is important for you? Because if you know the market well, if you know your what with what position you are entering the market, you always would have a competitive edge. You will know your market better. You can enter it effectively and optimally without wasting a lot of money. And the chances of survival and growth are relatively more when you have a solid GTM in place. Now, what is the most important part about having a go-to-market strategy is that it helps you have a competitive advantage. Now, when you have a product, there are a lot of people selling the same product, and everybody is saying "मेरा better है." I mean, there's no debate about it. सब vouch करते हैं मेरा सबसे सस्ता है, मेरा quality like best है. एंड क्वालिटी इज वन थिंग दैट्स थ्रोन द मोस्ट कि उसकी क्वालिटी और मेरी क्वालिटी में आप छू के देख लीजिए कितना डिफरेंस है. सो या आप ट्राई करके देख लो कितना डिफरेंस है. बट ट्राई करने के लिए भी जीटीएम स्ट्रैटेजी चाहिए होती है. सो व्हेन यू गेट कस्टमर्स टू ट्राई योर प्रोडक्ट, दैट इज योर बिगेस्ट विन. Then the product does the talking. But for trying people, letting people try your product, the claim cannot be my quality is better. And this is where we need to identify the right USP that's part of what messaging I'm communicating, what am I telling in that message, and to whom am I saying this. And once you establish that, you always get a competitive advantage. And obviously you align with your customer when you are telling or selling to the customer what they require or what they want to hear. Then the chances that the high rate of loyalty or the usage of that product becomes longer. So that's why it is very important to have a strong GTM. Now, everybody asks, like, how do we start? So, there are two, three options. So, a lot of people go to experts like us to help them establish their GTM. But a lot of people, because of budget constraints, start with their own research. And research finds is the most fundamentally important thing in developing a GTM strategy. And research is very simple, two things, internal, external, that is conducting a market research, and then is you're analyzing your competition. If you do these two things right and very accurately, you've cracked half of the thing, right? Because creativity comes towards the end. The insights is something that everything is based on. Any TV ad na also is successful only if it is based on a very strong customer insight. So how do we get these insights? Now, these insights come from conducting market research. So market research can also be in form of when we are studying. Now, you have so many AI tools, right? There are various ways of conducting research. One of the very accurate ways also of conducting research is doing surveys, where we reach out to our targets at customers whom we think will be the users of these products, who will be spending the money to buy this our product. So we do a research and ask certain questions that help us know them better, know their pain points better, and accordingly draft a message. So when we do this market research, we understand our customer. We understand what are their likes, where we will find them, what kind of messaging would they prefer. So those insights come from market research. The other thing is what the market is overall saying. That is there, what are the legal requirements? What are the trade issues that happen in this particular industry? Where is this market going? Is there any new R&D happening in this market? Is there new policies coming out in the government in this particular industry that we are dealing with? So everything that is related to political, environmental, social, economical, ecological, the pestle is comes under your, and obviously your consumer analysis comes under your overall market research. So when we do this market research, what we get out of it is what are the opportunities that lie in our for us that we can encash, particularly in terms of our messaging. And another important is competition analysis. That everything one that we think is our direct or indirect competitor, we take their names down, we study them and understand what are they doing right, what are they doing wrong. And on that basis, we'll identify our pricing, we'll identify our distribution, we'll also fine tune our product. So I'll give you an example of of a place that I've been working a lot with was Femtech and particularly services. No, if you see, if I enter the market and I say, no, I want to do menopause because it's the in thing, everybody's talking about menopause. I'm just giving a hypothetical example. But we see in the market that there are five companies who are dealing with menopause are either closing or on the verge of closing. Then what is wrong? What is my competition doing wrong that I shouldn't do? Is the market viable? What is services selling, or is it a product that's selling in this industry? So all that, my product market fit will come when I do this insight. And that's the, the basic crux. We are so excited in, on when we start developing a product or any service that we jump on how do we market it and we really go on the end part of it. But what we first need to identify is the product market fit. And when an investor also reaches out, the investor will actually see, okay, your product looks really cool and can does amazing thing. But is the market ready for your product? That we need to understand from the research. And once we have this research, then we start developing the strategy. Now, the first and the foremost part of of this GTM is identifying who we are talking to. And that's the fundamental, again, important thing, because मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम वी से कि अरे पानी है, पानी तो सब पीते हैं, तो मेरा मार्केट सब लोग हो गए. बट दैट्स नॉट हाउ वी एंटर द मार्केट विद. So we have to, if we, even if it is water, we have to understand ki are we going to do small size bottles and do it in a pack that might go to hotels and B2B wise, or in parties and catering, or am I targeting a bigger bottle that would be on the go, and then in which cities जहाँ tourists ज़्यादा हैं. So all these things we need to understand and then define कि and who will buy these this पानी का bottle. Maybe youngsters, will it be children, will it be people above the age of 40? क्या people above the age of 40 अपनी bottle लाएंगे क्योंकि उनको लगता है that's better? Maybe the 40s are the ones जो plastic bottles use करेंगे. So we have to ask ourselves these questions and identify किसको हम बेच रहे हैं. And that is very important. And then we also segment. So, for example, if we have water bottle, we realize, okay, okay, the small packaging is for the B2B, where I'll send it to hotels. And maybe we can do a bigger 1 liter bottle for D2C. Maybe that can be placed in these Kinara shops. But is Kinara the right option? Like, we have to think through it. कि कहाँ से बिकेगा, कब बिकेगा, and कौन खरीदेगा. And then we do, will it be male, female, everything comes under this market, target market identification. And we also start creating buyer personas here. And from this comes the consumer insight. So one part is ki, who are you selling to? And then how do these people look like? What are their habits? What are their likes, dislikes? And sometimes you'll feel कि यार मेरे को पानी बेचना है, मुझे क्या फर्क पड़ता है कि XYZ जो दिल्ली में रहती है उसकी हैबिट्स क्या है. Now we have to understand agar she is maybe a very if majority of the people are very environmental conscious and there's a trend going towards non-plastic bottles, then maybe this city, this category might not be my target. So this lady will not be taking a plastic bottle. So do I have a separate approach? I'm giving a very random example like that, but similarly you can have various examples where you have to identify that if there is a woman who is moving towards health food category. So where is she buying her healthy snacks? It's not available on Kinara store, but maybe yeah, Blinkit might have a category of that. So maybe Blinkit is where I need to register. So when I start making a persona of my target customer, I start understanding my pricing. How will this person be sensitive to pricing or not? I will start understanding my distribution. Where will this person buy? And all most important, I'll start understanding my promotion. That where do I have to market? So if this person is mostly on social media, then I know I have to market through social media. But if my target is not on social media, then where do I market? Does my target has something which requires out of the house marketing like hoardings, or would it be someone who would have more experiential form of marketing? Who would like maybe an exhibition as a form of marketing, or maybe trials as a form of marketing, or maybe it's available in a farmer's market. So all these things will come when we start visualizing how my ideal customer is using my product? How is she or how is he looking? Where is he using? Where is he buying from? All this imagination comes under your persona. And this forms the foundation. This target market segmentation and persona making forms the a foundation of your entire GTM. Because the next thing that you will talk about would be your value proposition, your USP. So USP will only be formed if we know what our consumers want. सो वेन फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल उसके लिए हमें ये पता चाहिए हम बेच किसको रहे हैं, चाहे वो B2B में हम कॉर्पोरेट्स को बेच रहे हो, होटल्स को बेच रहे हो, या हम डायरेक्ट कंज्यूमर में मेन विमेन चिल्ड्रन जिसको भी हमारा कैटेगरी बेच रहा है, तो हमें देखना है परचेजिंग पावर किसके पास है, कितना परचेजिंग पावर है, अपर मिडिल क्लास है, होटल बजटेड है, नॉन बजटेड है, अगर हम इंडस्ट्रियल परचेजेस कर रहे हैं तो किस टाइप की इंडस्ट्री कर रहे हैं. सो वंस वी नो दैट टारगेट, we'll start identifying what would be the hook that will make my target choose me. So, something like I'll say bread. That's something that everybody feels it's very low involvement. नहीं सभी यूज करेंगे, क्या ही अलग कर सकते हैं ब्रेड में. सो दैट्स वेयर समथिंग लाइक अ इमोशनल अपील हैपेंस. लेट्स से केस ऑफ अमूल. Now, Amul is identified more with that Amul girl. Now, that happened because Amul doesn't have a differentiator. How will an Amul doodh be different from a Mother Dairy, a Gyan, or any other Parag दूध? ना अमूल, बट अमूल का जो हुक है बिकॉज ऑफ दैट अमूल गर्ल, या अमूल बटर फ्रॉम एनी अदर बटर. सो बेसिक कॉम्पोजिशन सेम है, कंटेंट ठीक है, फ्लेवर 19-20 का चेंज हो जाएगा, बट क्या ज्यादा डिफरेंस है? सो इन सच केसेस पे पीपल यूज इमोशनल डिफरेंशिएशन. Now, what differentiation you'll use will totally depend upon the target market that you are handling. So, but you should have a USP, because otherwise, why you? You won't be ever able to answer that question, that why you. Now sometimes USPs are created, and that's through research. When we do competitive research and we realize, okay, this person has taken this positioning, इसने थोड़ा सा हेल्थ, ब्रेड को हेल्थ में ले गया है, कोई डायबिटीज फ्रेंडली पोजिशनिंग ले गया है. सो यू अंडरस्टैंड different positioning. In B2B service could be a positioning, something like that. Let's understand in B2B what could be a pain point for a customer. So when we talk about B2B services, particularly in real estate, we realize that a lot of times in B2B where servicing is major differentiator. And अब तो servicing भी क्योंकि हर जगह काफी हद तक सेम हो सकती है, then becomes your customers servicing in terms your interaction, not in terms of product handling, but in terms of interaction. So, something like we'd never disconnect a call can become also your USP. So, USP हमें खुदेड़ के निकालनी पड़ती है in a very cluttered market, and in a new market, untouched market, niche can also become a USP. So, when you say कि in a women-centric, I'm targeting only PCOS, that becomes your unique positioning. And but once there are 5 players saying that I am also doing PCOS or menopause, then we again go back and find out how am I different from the other person. So that once that USP comes, then it is broken down into different messages. So the more consistent you are with your message, the more recall you will have in the minds of the customer. What we sometimes do is we hit and try. What we are saying, maybe we are giving a healthy positioning and a tasty positioning on Facebook, a healthy positioning or a all-in-one positioning on Instagram. We are doing a offline कुछ और ही बोल रहे हैं. So when we integrate our key messages, we can divide our USP into 3 key messages, 4 key messages, 1 key message, totally depends based on your segment also. किसको क्या बोलना है. We can have 1 key message per segment when the underlying USP remains the same. But the consistency across the message, across different channel has to be same. Then only recognition and recall happens. right? And it should be consistent. We can't be changing our message every 3 months. So the broader message, obviously, campaign by campaign, your other messages keep on changing, but I'm talking about the broader message based on breaking down your USP. Then comes how do we execute this GTM cutting. So then comes your sales channels and partner ecosystem. So once you have the key message, we have to identify where all are these messages is going, and we also identify the products. Once you have the USP, and you have your customer insights, we develop our sales channel. Now, just because everybody is on Blinkit doesn't mean I have to go on Blinkit. Just because everybody is on maybe in a Lulu or maybe in a GT store, I also have to be there. Or when it talks about B2B ka thing, so everybody is on India Mart, I also have to be there. We don't decide like that. We have to understand the market. We have to understand where our TG is, the people that I am targeting, the niche that I am targeting. Am I finding them outside hospital? Like, for example, again, let's take nutraceuticals, right? Nutraceuticals is an upcoming thing. A lot of people are doing Ayurveda nutraceuticals. Now, if I see that the most influential person who, when it comes to healthcare, is a doctor, so can I have a deal with the doctor where he can promote my product? Because a person won't go to a pharmacy and say कि अच्छा आज मेरे को याला हेल्थ केयर का देखना है, मतलब सो मेरा या आज मुझे अपना हार्ट हेल्थ के लिए कुछ आयुर्वेदा ढूंढना है, तो मैं फार्मेसी में ब्राउज कर रहा हूँ दवा, न्यूट्रोसूटिकल नो. Yes, but at the same time, discovery can happen through Instagram. So maybe my distribution channel may, despite being a nutraceutical, a pharmacy might not be the right partner, but a doctor could be and an Instagram could be. That will direct the traffic to my website. So we have to understand where are we placing our product. So right now, Blinkit का OTC या Amazon Pharmacy अगर इतना famous नहीं हुआ है, अगर वो जहाँ people browse कर रहे हैं, then yes. So you have to get that data, you have to understand and then find which platform you will be choosing. And similarly, we have to partner with key stakeholders. Do we have to go with a reseller model, distribution model? कैसा होगा? Middleman चाहिए नहीं चाहिए? किस stakeholder से हमें relation चाहिए? All will be dependent again on who are you selling, where are you finding that person, and how are you finding comes under this sales and distribution strategy. And then, then comes your marketing mix, digital marketing, SEO, gya PPC, social media marketing, email campaigns, these sub are part of your digital. But you have to again understand where is it required. So now if you have maybe a offline shop where you are saying कि एक hospital है हमारा, and but are people choosing hospital basis on email campaign, social media campaign? All this answer comes again from your consumer insights. When I study my consumer, I'll know. You imagine yourself to be that consumer, or you talk to 10 other people that are of that bracket and fits in your consumer mindset. Where are they discovering products? And also, it depends product to product. So some products people discover, like again on Instagram. Some people, some places you don't discover Instagram. You want to feel and touch and go and have a feel of it, right? So totally depends. Healthcare is something that is, when it comes to services, not trusted more online, but maybe more offline. What works from word of mouth, what works from Instagram is something that we have to decide for ourselves and then move on to the market. And I can't generalize and very confidently say, no, PPC and SEO is something that is mandatory. No, it is very, and if I say that, I won't be very honest with you. Right now, I think there are, how many? I saw 33 people here. Not 33 people would have different businesses. Every business would have a separate GTM, and I cannot standardize. So what is working for you would not work for someone else. And also it totally also depends upon your, I'll say, even in the same category, your USP. because your USP, where the niche you've taken is also very different. Is your niche now? If I talk about, as I was initially referring to menopause, so menopause women is samay would be of an age after 45, 46 to maybe 55. And now, are these women on Instagram or are they on Facebook more? Are they filling in forms based on performance marketing or are they not? Maybe women who have PCOS would be more active on digital than of menopause. So industry becomes same. Women is both cases, but because of the problem in age traffic, my entire distribution and my marketing strategy changes. So that is how important identification of a TG is, right? And again, women mehi, if I talk about, if I'm placing now any medicine, when it comes to fatigue, even postpartum women have fatigue, even menopausal women have fatigue. Now, young women, because of lack of iron deficiency, have fatigue. Fatigue is across all women. However, we cannot say everyone has fatigue. We have to understand which of these would have a higher purchasing power. So, if we talk about young women, they are not decision maker. उनकी मम्मियां उनके लिए लेती हैं. तो क्या हम यंग women पे फोकस करें अभी, जिनके पास परचेजिंग पावर ही नहीं है? प्रोडक्ट हमारा सेम है, मेरे को पोजिशनिंग देखनी है बस. तीनों एज कैटेगरी ये ले सकती है, बट मेरे को मार्केट में क्या बेट आना है जिससे मेरा यूएसपी बने. तो अब मेरा पोस्ट पार्टम वाला मार्केट ज्यादा बड़ा है फटीक का, या मेनोपॉजल वाला मार्केट ज्यादा बड़ा है फटीक का? इनमें से कौन, किसका परचेजिंग पावर ज्यादा है? इसमें से किसका, आई हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड कि कौन मोर डिजिटल मेरे लिए, डिजिटल अगर आसान है करना, कॉस्ट इफेक्टिव है. आई ऑल्सो हैव टू सी माई फंड्स एंड बजट. आई कांट गो ऑफलाइन एंड द ऑल ओवर इंडिया easily. So Instagram पे कौन easily मिलेगा, and then we choose our category, and then we establish a USP. So the storytelling has to happen, and similarly, content has to be very reinforcing and establishing your authority. So please do not make your content only for awareness. Content has to be, you have to also have your purpose very much aligned when we talk about content. कि क्यों कर रहे हैं ये हम अवेयरनेस के लिए कर रहे हैं, तो कितना अवेयरनेस के लिए करना है? हाउ मेनी पोस्ट शुड बी एलोकेटेड टू अवेयरनेस? हाउ मेनी शुड पोस्ट टू अथॉरिटी? सी, द मोमेंट यू हैव एस्टैब्लिश्ड योर अथॉरिटी in the market, then it is not the price game. Authority and credibility will come with your consistent performance. Your consistent communication also would give a feeling of authority and reinforces in the minds of the consumer what you are here for. Now, all this is the strategic bit of it. Now, once you have this strategy of digital marketing, your content is sorted, आपने अपना pricing distribution कर लिया है, then we need to understand, and it is a very much part of the your GTM is measuring the success of GTM. So then comes the sales metrics. So let's remember that though it is said that your first is your make and break, but what is the underlying thing is that it's, as I said, it's very iterative. We have to learn and very, very quickly pivot in case it's not working out. If we think that this particular GTM is only draining, let's try, or let's have smaller, we have multiple GTMs identified in terms of, once the USP remains the same, and or we do not market it at a big way, and we do test and trials to understand how to go about it. And then we see the revenue growth, we see the conversion rate, we see the average deal size, and then we scale it. Right. And also the feedback. Now, something that a lot of investors would ask you is your NPS score, the Net Promoter Score. So, which is when we have a small survey, or you can, or it could be form of 2 questions or 3 questions, and after every engagement of a customer, you ask them this on either form of a survey or in form of a written, but has to be physically recorded, and they rate you. And the maximum 9 and 10s you get is higher on the NPS, and that is what every investor would look for. So we need to understand, have the customer feedback and reviews accounted, and see how are we taking this. I'm only talking about from the investment point of view. Every NPS score, every feedback becomes the prime point to decide for the investor that how are we pivoting based on the feedback. Obviously, it has to be a considerable size, but every even one is very important, and we create that loop, and then we iterate totally how we are pivoting and how we are doing changes based on customer feedback. So, and then these feedback could be based on discovery, how they are discovering about us, how they are. So, if we see a lot of people are coming through word of mouth, then should we have a better CRM in terms of my incentives for referrals? So depends. How are these people coming to you? What cycle should I invest in? What if there is a particular channel that's working, funnel that we have cracked? Then should I invest more in that funnel, or do not put my eggs in one basket? So all that comes through sales metrics, customer feedbacks, and your feedback loops that we need to understand. Now, another important thing is, and then we keep on updating our strategy. So I would also want to give certain examples where you know GTMs can go wrong. GTMs can go wrong, number one, when there is no product market fit, that you've launched a product जिसकी जरूरत ही नहीं है. Let's say maybe something like threads in India. It's not able to pick up. क्या जरूरत थी? यहाँ पे हम लोग का एक्स ही नहीं चल पा रहा है, मतलब उतना नहीं चलता है जितना बाहर चलता है. एंड देन वी कम अप विद समथिंग लाइक थ्रेड. सो प्रोडक्ट मार्केट फिट है या नहीं? Then comes wrong messaging. The biggest example of wrong messaging went with Nano, Tata Nano. Now, it marketed itself as a cheapest car. Now, car is something that is very aspirational. It's become more than need-based to aspiration. A lot of people buy car as a symbol, right? And then when you are everywhere saying it is the cheapest car, why would I want to travel in the cheapest car? Right. Yes, people who really essentially require it would buy it, but it would not become a massy product then, because it is not matching to the aspirational requirement. It forgot the aspirational. It totally cracked the functional requirement of the user, but it did not emotional requirement को ignore कर दिया. And we have to understand the market when we draft our messaging. Then we say if we are targeting everyone. So if we say everybody is my go-to person and मेरे को सबको बेचना है, that doesn't work. You know, poor timings also. If you're too early or too late uh, in launching something. So, for example, it took 1mg Pharmacy a little while to establish themselves because they were entering a market जहाँ पे too early, where the digital adoption was, and it boomed when COVID happened. Right. And that's when. So when you launch too early, you might run into losses. It might not be the right time. And similarly, we say our overspending on GTMs can also result. Like if you go all out, like housing.com went all out. So doesn't work like that. Now, good GTMs के example भी हुए. Like for example, Dunzo. Now, Dunzo first did a product market fit. They started with the neighborhood. Ki let's see if it works in this area of Gurgaon or Delhi. And then okay, this has worked we've tried it over 2-3 months. This is scalable. Let's move on to Delhi, NCR, Bangalore. And then let's take it overall. So that's finding your product market fit and learning by not spending too much initially. Boat, that's a right messaging. So they were also cheap, but they did not say we're the cheapest headsets. They said, okay, we're the stylish and the and most good quality with style value to young people. That's how they got their entire messaging, color, theme, bold, youth being bold. वो सब उन्होंने imaging and designing वैसा ही करा. So right messaging was able to crack the GTM. Then when we talk about Zepto also, Zepto focused only on metros and young professionals initially. So and still actually do. उनके उनके जो categories हैं in their list is accordingly. right? So they are not selling to everyone. They have a target that is mine. They can say अरे Zepto तो कोई भी घर use कर सकता है, but no, their how they are marketing, how they are penetrating smaller cities, when they are how long it is taking to penetrate in these cities totally depends upon what was the strategy they had. Paytm Paytm launched right, good timing, demonetization, and boom, Paytm was everywhere. Then Mamaearth, again, they did not overspend. They started with a very lean D2C model before they went ahead. But they did not go ahead, okay, I have a great product. Now I'll be in every retail store possible and I just go all out. So that didn't happen, right? And similarly, when we talk about in current times, one of the brands I personally very like is Bliss Club. I don't know how many of you have heard of Bliss Club, but Bliss Club had an amazing GTM. They found a very good product market fit, that Indian women finding functional activewear. You know, those pants with everyday pants with pockets is something that
Karishma, we lost you for 2 minutes. If you could just.
there was electricity issue. I'm
Yeah, yeah,
just
no worries.
so yeah. Am I audible
Yes,
now? Okay,
yes, you are.
perfect. So now I was talking about Bliss Club. Now I'm just winding up this now so that we can move to Q&A. So Bliss Club, Indian women functional activewear. They first form a community, then they entered into selling for it. They made a good Facebook, Instagram community. They relied on user-generated content, very relatable influencers. Their message was very focused that it was comfort and functionality. That is consistent. They have not said कि इतना डिस्काउंट है, इतना अच्छा क्वालिटी का कपड़ा है, nowhere. Functional है, comfortable है, and that's what they are, and it is for Indian body type. And that's another thing, because abhi tak activewear was not made towards Indian body type. So and similarly we have Blue Smart that happened with a very niche positioning. So they said ki EV conscious premium customers in Delhi, NCR, Bangalore, very targeted, and that's why they were able to scale. They also used a lot of founder marketing that also did not go well with them when the founder was under scrutiny. So that is also why we have to understand personal branding, but that's another topic only. Not, let's not get into that. But yeah, these are the examples I felt that. Should I close my PPT now?
Yes, Karishma, I think just the last second of it was not audible. That's
Hmm.
perfectly fine. I think it was great hearing from you, hearing about the rights and the wrongs of GTM, understanding what it is like. It's all about slow and steady wins the race, but you need to be focused and concentrated. You don't want to say मुझे सबको बेचना है. Obviously
Hmm.
सबको बेचना है, but let's take it slowly. How do you understand your target market? How do you derive that? So thank you so much. It was great insight for everyone, I'm sure, because everyone's starting up with building their entire product. In case anyone has any questions, we'll be ready to take it. You can raise your hand and we can unmute you. Or you can unmute yourself also. Yes, Priyanka, can you please unmute yourself?
Hello.
Yes, Priyanka, you're audible.
Hi. Actually, I was asking that I'm in the healthcare system. Okay. So what about that you told about that how system also works, but it's always that market is always about product thing, na? And we are on the service one. So how we should go through that?
So
Well,
Priyanka, if you can tell me your service, what are you providing?
I myself I'm a doctor. Okay, so we're planning for a rural polyclinics thing. Okay, so how we should go with the market strategy?
So
What
when you
is
talk
the
about
service?
rural polyclinic, it would be a physical establishment, right?
Yeah. Physical establishment.
So, see, again, rural is a very difficult market, different market, I'll say. The clutter and the problem is happening in online services, not in offline services. So, how every hospital is targeting the same strategy goes in rural, and it will be good. But what you need to understand is that who is your target. So are you only establishing something as a GP or as a gynae? What specialty you are targeting? It is for pediatrics. What in rural are we going at? So we need to identify what are we offering. Then who is
Actually,
consuming?
sorry. Yeah, you
Who
continue.
who is consuming? Matlab, I do not know matlab, see, when you polyclinic,
Mm.
who all will be sitting there? What kind of patients will come? Based on that, will segment our categories. For example, if it's a pediatric thing, so we'll have a separate messaging for that. And are they aspiring city-like treatment? So what we have to understand, what is that pulse that will get them from, if like as far as my understanding goes, रूरल के लिए सिर्फ सस्ता इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं होगा, उनको लगता है मुफ्त का ट्रीटमेंट नहीं चाहिए, मेरे को सिटी लाइक ट्रीटमेंट चाहिए. सो इफ
Yeah.
आई कैन गिव दैट feel in terms of my branding, how I look, how my infrastructure is, without compromising obviously the cost. आपकी प्राइसिंग रूरल के हिसाब से होगी, बट हमारा इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, हमारी जो स्पेस ब्रांडिंग होगी, हमारी मैसेजिंग प्रीमियम फील दिलाएगी अगर, सो इट विल, आई फील इट विल क्रैक इन दैट सेंस, बिकॉज यू आर
Okay.
गिविंग एस्पिरेशनल मार्क, आपके लिए एस्पिरेशनल वर्क करेगा.
Okay. Okay, I
या
got it. Yeah,
या
yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you.
थैंक यू.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Priyanka. We have Elixir Private Limited. If you could just unmute yourself.
हेलो
Yes.
नमस्कार बहुत ही अच्छा और knowledgeable session था. Myself Dr. Meenakshi Karwal, I am director and founder of Elixir Private Limited. So here we have developed an organic manner through a patented process, and it is boosting the crop yield by 30 to 40%, and like it is working as a bacterial, it has certain antibacterial and antifungal property as well, and moreover 70% of the water holding capacity. So it has a USP of like that is it is enhancing yield, 70% water holding capacity during this era of climate change, and it is growing the healthy plants and enhancing yield, right? So
राइट.
my question is that first one, can you throw some light on export and import? Like I wish to export my product organic manure outside India. So what strategy I should implement? And secondly, is there any like club of farmers who are specifically working on premium products like dates and all, where my
So that
product
I
could
won't
be
be.
useful? Yeah.
So that I won't be knowing if there is an existing club of farmers who are working on premium products. No, but you know what you are selling is something that's gonna benefit the farmers. So your market could still be the same everyday farmer, but how you put across your message will make all the difference. So if you will have so your USP, see, that is the benefit of your thing. It's not a USP. Your benefit is that if they use your product, then their yield is better, right? That's
Yes.
what, yeah, it's as simple as that. It is, even if it's more nutritious or whatever it is just better. That's the benefit of your product. That's not your USP, because anyone can come with that product, similar product, and say the same thing. Now, how do I match my USPs to understand the pain point of my farmer? Where is he? And that's something that requires research. Now, for example, I can give you an example of a cattle field brand that I worked with. Now, that cattle field brand may everybody was selling cattle field. So we like ये वाला पशुहार better कैसे है farmer के लिए? We realize that farmers are very attached to their pets, right? These cows and also we said
Cattle.
कैटल आपका जो हो गया, बट उससे उनकी longevity पे हमने प्ले करा. If they are eating this, it's ensuring a healthier life for them, a longer life for them. So here the the USP becomes an emotional bonding of the farmer with the cattle.
So in that sense, my USP is that if you put my manure in your plants, you don't need to repeat it every 1 month, right? Till 6 months, you don't need to put any manure. That may be the USP.
Yeah, so benefit is basically better crop, but the pain point that you are targeting is that you don't have to repurchase after every month. That's a great
Uh-huh.
USP then.
Okay, then.
And when it comes to export, we have to understand that who would be your end customer, and your USP will change then. Your product messaging will change based on their pain point. So that requires research. It's something that I can't tell you top of my mind.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Very knowledgeable session.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. We have Himanshi from Plant Tech. If you could just unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hi, hello everyone.
Hi, Himanshi.
So, Kareshma, I wanted to ask that I'm founder of Plantic Innovations, and at Plantic we make planters. We have two category of planters. First one is digital planters. So whatever plant you will put into it, you can monitor its temperature, humidity. You can see what's the water content present in the plant, and if you are not available to water it, it will automatically irrigate itself in the just right amount. So this is one product.
Right.
This was the product with which we started. This is the USP. This is the product that is a brand product. But right now we also manufacture planters from bioplastic. They are made up of cornstarch and sugarcane, so they are sustainable, recyclable, and eco-conscious. The thing is, the digital planter is right now into the patent. So two stages of patent has been passed, and before we applied it to patent, we had tested it, pilot tested it among 85 houses in the Kanpur. So right now we cannot sell a digital planter. We cannot promote digital. Sorry, we cannot give digital planter into the pilot testing also, because it is under patent and we cannot take any risk. So we are fully promoting our bioplastic planter, like everywhere from last 5-6 months. I am like fully focused on this. So am I doing it right by introducing people just one product of our company, or I should give a little bit shots of that digital gamla or something?
No, so again, Himanshu, totally depends where are you selling. Like, for example, what I'm understanding about your digital planter is something that would be used in a place where there are maybe single owners living, or maybe couples who do not have house helps, who do not live in a joint system, like something which is
Yeah.
very contrary to a city like Lucknow, I'll
Yes,
just say.
yes, yes.
Right? So it depends. It's a very niche market. So when it's a niche, you can introduce it only at places, or you should introduce only at places जहाँ पे उसकी value समझ आए. नहीं तो you will be just wasting your time and money and
Yes.
confusing the user, because उनकी कभी डिमांड ही नहीं आएगी. जहाँ पे मेरे पास माली है, जहाँ पे मेरे पेरेंट्स को मन होता है, that's their hobby. It's not coming because of the need, but more because it's more hobby oriented, and they have enough time in such cities to water their plants, and they don't need digital interference. It's something that might not work in such cities. So यहाँ पे do not introduce. But maybe when you are doing it with your eco-conscious customer, you can slightly tell them, like, but that should be part of your second awareness part, not the first primary. मतलब जितना आप कम के साथ जाओगे उतना कंफ्यूज नहीं होगा, क्योंकि आपके दोनों कैटेगरीज ना डिफिकल्ट कैटेगरीज हैं. मतलब नीड क्रिएशन वाले कैटेगरीज है. इसकी नीड नहीं आई है, हम नीड क्रिएट कर रहे हैं. यू अंडरस्टैंडिंग व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू से?
Yes, 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 I'm.
सो मतलब हम अपने गमले में खुश हैं.
Hmm.
राइट. आप कह रहे हो कि ये बेटर है, आपको अपनी एनर्जी उसी में ही सारी निकालने में लग रही है. सो कंफ्यूज नहीं
Yeah,
कर.
right now because people are more conscious about sustainability and all, that is why we are introducing bioplastic planter. I mean, we're promoting it as it is. Like we are not promoting as the normal planters.
राइट. अगेन दैट कॉन्शियसनेस इज अ वेरी प्राइस सेंसिटिव ऑडियंस. जहां नहीं होगी वहां आएगी. एज आई सेड, ब्लू स्मार्ट का था व्हाई डिड 3 cities, जहां पे प्रीमियम कस्टमर्स विद ईवी कॉन्शियसनेस होंगे.
Yes.
Similarly, you have to identify where are these people, how much is the planter costing more than a normal planter, and based on that, choose your category, like your target audience, and go with one set of you know problem solving as of now, because you are right now solving two problems with your two different products, but first is there, and once you start building a bond with your consumers will tell you this is also a problem. There you can pitch your digital one.
Okay, okay, yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. We have time for another question. Maybe we have Ashish Trivedi.
Yes, ma'am. I'm co-founder of Senani Agro Enterprises, and we are manufacturing edible oil like mustard oil. And my question is that we are in rural areas, and we are manufacturing premium brand, which is completely means adulteration free. So my question is that in when we go in market and tell about our products, so we are basically find difficulties when the other brands are selling in very low price, and my oil is uh, compared to them is 20 to 30 rupees more costly. So how can I pitch my product in same market, where the all competitors have a less price?
Right. So as I said, what you are doing is you are backing everything based on your product. That is
Yes.
adulteration free. But even those 20 rupees sasta ala people will claim the same. Nobody will say
Yes.
my product is adulterated. So
Yes.
you need to either back it with some documentation. How can you? And which is very difficult. So this is where you have to rework and do the homework all over again. That how can I enter the penetrate into this market with a USP, because अभी आपके पास USP नहीं है, and that's why it's becoming a pricing game. Adulteration free is not a USP, right? And 20 to 30 rupees higher is a very big amount. So we have to maybe go and do the homework again about product market fit. So I'm saying that GTM will work only when the product मतलब we have to understand the product market fit is there or pivot. So if you have tried everything, I mean, that requires honestly a lot more discussion. Ashish, मतलब इसमें बहुत, I can tell you 10 things. I can meet you one
Yes.
on one on this, basically why it's not working. Because आपने खुद ही बता दिया क्यों नहीं काम कर रहा है. आपने अपना core product बोला है rural based adulteration free. That's not a USP. ये सब क्लेम कर रहे हैं और सब आपसे सस्ते पे क्लेम कर रहे हैं ये. सो हमें कुछ और ढूंढना
Yes.
पड़ेगा या अपना प्रोडक्ट मार्केट फिट निकालना पड़ेगा. कहाँ 20 रुपीज हायर पे कॉन्शियसनेस आएगी, या क्या हम कोई टेस्ट कर सकते हैं जिससे प्रूव हो जाए ये अडल्ट्रेशन फ्री है. तो दैट इट हैज टू बी द साइंस बैक्ड, और इट हैज टू बी ब्रांडेड विद अनदर यूएसपी. कोई और फंक्शनल ढूंढिए आप बेनिफिट इसका कि जिसको हम मार्केट कर पाए.
हम बेनिफिट तो है, हम जैसे हम सेलिंग में हमें अभी कोई मतलब बहुत ज़्यादा दिक्कत नहीं है, सेल हो जाता है। बट कहीं कहीं हमें दिक्कत आती है, और ये मतलब बेसिकली हम ये चाह रहे थे कि अपना मार्केट अगर हम चेंज कर देते हैं, तो मतलब अदर सिटीज में जाते हैं, तो वहाँ पे ये क्लिक करेगा क्या?
हाँ, तो ये मैं वही आपसे कह रही हूँ आश्विन, मुझे आपके साथ इसमें वन ऑन वन बैठना पड़ेगा क्योंकि बहुत लंबा कॉन्वर्जेशन है. इसमें
राइट।
बहुत फैक्टर्स हैं.
जी। ओके।
Understanding GTM by itself is very specific to your product, to your market also. So great. Thank you so much for that.
थैंक यू।
We don't have that much time, but Karishma, is it okay if we take up another question?
Yeah, we can ask Anamika. Yeah.
Sure. Anamika, can you just unmute yourself?
Hi, Karishma. This is Anamika from Campus Dynamics. Actually, we are basically a health tech-based startup in which we are working on the early detection of cervical cancer for the women under some reason. So, I would like to know what would be the go-to-market strategy for us?
Okay, Anamika, a very interesting field. This is the field that I specialize in, femtech. But इसमें बहुत ही it is a difficult market to crack. I'll be very honest. You
Okay.
have to understand कि आप मतलब आप किस रूट पे चाहोगे. तो जो आपका डिटेक्शन है ये सेल्फ टेस्ट पे हो सकता है या ये इंस्टीट्यूशनल टेस्टिंग पे होगा.
We are looking for institutional testing, like we are going for the hospitals, like the government hospitals where the footfall is a little bit high. Then we will go for the diagnosis labs and etc. We will move forward like this only.
Um, okay, so in my experience so far, this is not how it's been happening because hospitals are yet not ready for this. But I mean,
Actually, because let me tell you one thing, what we are trying to do, there is a screening process which is known as colposcopy. So what we are trying to do, we are trying to replace that colposcopy procedure, that colposcope by our app, the app we are building. So by using that app, you can screen the, you can do the testing, or you can screen the, we are trying to eliminate
are
that
you
hardware.
replacing the pap smear?
No, we are replacing the colposcopy.
So when does this stage happens? Like after
At the
pap smear, if there's something
no,
problem.
before pap smear. मतलब pap smear or colposcopy are the parallel procedure. Doctors go for colposcopy as well as for pap smear. So
Right.
pap
So
smear is a invasive test, but the colposcopy is a non-invasive test. So it is more suitable for the women who are lived in the rural areas, or in the underserved regions. So if the women are very conscious about their, it's a,
yeah.
it's a very crucial part, you can say, cervix
No,
ka
no, I get it that there
damage.
is a lot of hesitation. People don't even go for their normal test and checkups,
And there are
preventive.
several taboos are there in our society. So women never go
Right.
for screening. So for
So
that, we are trying to make an app.
right, and Mika, I think it will totally, आपका USP would be based on the accuracy. I'll say because it is again आपका स्टार्टिंग में कोई यूएसपी का ऐसा जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगा क्योंकि आपका जो मार्केट है वो नीश है नंबर वन प्लस इट्स अ न्यू मार्केट देयर इज आई डोंट थिंक यू विल हैव एनी कंपटीशन राइट
Yeah, right now we are not having in
एग्जैक्टली
India actually. Yeah, in
So
India
if you
actually.
don't
Yeah,
have competition, but if you can 100% give an accuracy thing, see even healthcare, people, if you say ki it's 70% accurate, people do not
yeah,
go for it, right?
yeah, yeah,
So if you can back it with data, I think your
yeah.
GTM would be right now, you don't need any brains involved in a proper strategy or any USP because you are creating the market. So the
Okay,
fact
okay.
that you are solving a problem itself becomes your unique because you will be unique, na? Because there's no one else to compare with.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
So if you are 100% sure of the product and as data backed, then you
Yeah,
can
yeah,
convince everyone. And
okay.
just align it with tech, the tech medical medicine of the future. These are the
Yeah,
words
yeah.
that you can use. But
We
you
will
do
go
not.
for the telemedicine services. We are saying this in our
And
everything
also play around the fact of hesitation and taboo about
yeah.
vaginal tests and diagnosis in India and particularly in rural, and you can say that this is something that would align with them because as you I think it's invasive nahi hai, right? So
Yeah,
the
yeah.
people might not feel hesitant, so maybe you can play around that part. It's
Okay,
a
okay,
very big
okay.
factor here. Like every doctor would say, people are very reluctant,
Yeah.
very reluctant. So if we can market it in that way, that it is solving that problem where reluctance can be overcome, it will work.
Okay,
But
okay.
again, it
Thank
has
you
to be
so much.
accuracy. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you,
We are
Deepika.
working on it actually. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Anamika. It was a great session, Karishma. Like you can see, we have questions coming in all over and again. We've overshot a little bit of our time also. Thank you so much for your valuable inputs. There are a lot of people who are asking for your number. We'll ask you whether we could share that on the group as well.
Share my
And
email address.
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
We'll share your email
I'll
address.
write note.
Anyone who wants to take a session with Karishma, they can just reach out to her directly as well for the entire thing. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in, and we will look forward to the next session as well. Thank you, Karishma. Thank you so much once
Thank
again.
you.
Her email ID is in the chat box. We'll share it on the WhatsApp group as well. Everyone who wants to take a note of the same, please do the same.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, everyone,
Okay.
for joining in.
Thank you.